Alright, welcome back everyone. Today I'm going to post this video on both my channels because more than likely some of you may own one or both of these vehicles or more, just like I do. I actually bought this one for my daughter, bought this one for myself, but my daughter likes the pink stripes better, so it's hers with the googly eyes, and then she decided to put eyes on mine, so there's where the similarity pretty much ends, if you want to even call that a similarity. But what I want to talk about, we put 5 charges, in other words 5 runs through these vehicles, and we've ran into some serious issues, specifically with that one over there, not so much this one with the aluminum chassis, not so much that one. This one right here, I believe within the 3rd charge, I want to say I had to do something to the front bumper in order to protect the pins. The little pivot pin that you might be able to see. Let me get something to point with. That little joker, that's silver in color right there, right? I had to do something to protect that because she is full throttle. It's either on or it's off, and she likes to run into curbs. She's only 8 years old and she's basically learning. I tried giving her a crawler, something slow, methodical, something, a little more precise with control, and it's the same thing. But this, for some reason, she seems to be learning better with a faster vehicle. I don't know. Keep that in mind if you have a young child like I do. So after smacking many curbs on off throttle, and Losi, in my opinion, should have designed their front bumper assembly similar to this. In fact, they actually don't even have a front bumper. Right, this is one that I made out of 1/16 thick PVC scrap that I had, or is it PVC? ABS, excuse me, ABS. And as you can see, it is already taking a few hits, and that was just in the last couple of days, right? But it is doing its job. In order to make this work, there's another piece of plastic, and I'll show you in a minute. I had to trim down the body, I had to raise the body mount, and the rear body mount is okay. So there's a couple of weak points. The body pin that goes here, it snapped off somewhere, I don't know where it is. The wing, because my girl likes to grab the vehicle by the wing, I've had to, one of these buttons was going bad, or it went bad, and I had to force it back in place with super glue, and then I went ahead and did the same thing to the other one, and I believe I did the same on the bottom side, which may be hard to tell, but yeah, I put super glue on there as well. So Losi and all their highly engineered, qualified people over there, that make too much money to design a product, evidently, they couldn't figure out how to protect the front lower suspension pivot pins, right? That part. There's a little pin that runs across it. They couldn't figure it out, or they didn't want to figure it out. They wanted you to continue to buy parts, whatever the case may be, but eventually you're going to end up destroying the chassis, especially if you got a young one. So this piece of plastic right here was already pre-formed at a 90-degree angle. I just simply measured out where the holes should be. And if you own this vehicle, you will know that there are 2 holes already installed. It's just a matter of figuring out what size screw actually works in there, right? So that's going to help protect the front part of the hinge pin. Now this lower skid plate that I made also protects the rear part of that pivot pin, or hinge pin, whatever you want to call it there. There's a little kind of lip I designed into it. See if I can get a close-up of that. There we go. And you can see I notched around the chassis. Now, Losi could not design it that way, or they didn't want to. One or the other. It's one of those two things. But a very, very simple thing that could protect me. Now, as you can tell, my daughter's smacking the curb at full throttle. It's okay. Let's go ahead and remove that thing. And the front hinge pin is still protected, right? So that becomes the wearable item. and it protects the rest of the vehicle. I went ahead and ordered me a bumper on my vehicle. I haven't used it yet since I just installed it this morning, and I was hoping it might also work on that, but the chassis layout's totally different, so you're not gonna, well, I mean, I'm not, if you are determined, you can make that bumper fit on there, but right, it's made for this chassis, the 1/18 scale. It might work for the 1/16 scale if they have a similar layout, I don't know. But here it is. Here's a part number and some stuff. Wide front bumper for Losi Mini T 2.0 Mini B, not compatible with the original Mini T. And look at that. That's freaking amazing. It's made in the United States. That's amazing. Oh, yeah, in case you missed the cost, it was $11.95, right? Then if you get this vehicle right here and you don't do the upgrades to it like I just did, you're gonna want to get yourself some little E-clips, right? There's like 40 of them. There's supposed to be 40 of them in this little package. I don't know. I haven't opened it up and I haven't counted them, but it does not look like 40 of them. I mean, it says 20 up there. I could have sworn on the website it said 40, but maybe I was wrong. But either way, that doesn't look like 20 either. Oh, there's more up there. That probably explains it. There, that probably is more like 20. There we go. So those are going to retain your hinge pins. But, so now let's go to the positive side of things. These are a lot of fun to spend with your child in your driveway. Like, for example, I live in a 1960s era house, 2-car garage with the equivalent size driveway, built in the 1960s, concrete. I set up a couple of ramps, actually 4 of them. I'm very simple, hardly no time at all invested in it. And we just had fun. I'm just zipping around, 2 jumps going one direction, 2 jumps going back the other direction in a simple oval track. Now here's the bottom of my chassis. The rear on mine seems to be taking a hammering more than the front side. I don't know, so today I changed the shock position, which is going to give it a little more travel, but I think I need to lower, oh, and I did lower the, what the hell do they call those? The preloads. I lowered them down quite a bit. I think they were more like the front, where they're hardly, they're about 3/16 of an inch down there. So that should hopefully give it a little more travel. These tires here are definitely made more like for carpet racing or maybe asphalt, blacktop, things of that nature. There's not much grip in there. The rear end is very, very loose as far as left or right is concerned. It spins very easy. In other words, if you get it high centered at all, one wheel might be barely touching the ground and one wheel is up in the air. Well, because they're so soft, you're stuck, right? If you had some spiked tires, it might help, but I think the best modification that at least I can make is to put some thicker grease in the rear differential. Now, maybe tomorrow, maybe today, I might do that and put some thicker grease in there. It means you got to take apart all this crap and do that. But it allows for great turning, and you know, if you want a good turn in, hairpin turns, probably don't want to mess with it, especially if you're on a carpeted track or a foam rubber track of that nature. But if you drive outside like I do, more than likely that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be driving in the parking lot, in your driveway, in your backyard. This is probably the better vehicle if you're interested in performance, because it's the weight balance is more centrally located, whereas the weight balance on this vehicle, we got the battery right there, we got the motor and some of the transmission behind the rear axle. So this car, if you get it upset, it will tend to ride a wheelie, which is kind of cute. My daughter likes that sometimes when she lands, it'll pop the rear end down and bring the front end up and it'll ride a wheelie. I mean, she kind of likes that. That's pretty neat. Now, both these vehicles, we are experiencing about a 20-minute run time. I've never taken the batteries out of either one of these vehicles. I just charge them in the vehicle. There's 650 20C rating. I believe that's going to be the same thing for this one as well. This one's allegedly 1/18 scale. This one's 1/16 scale. Well, for those who've never seen it before, there's the slight difference, right? The one thing I don't like is the rear wing on this guy. I think it should be a little more laid back. Just a little more laid back. It just seems too. It's like having a door attached to the back end of the truck. That's the best way I can describe it. It's a door. It's not really. It should be laid back a little bit more. I might try and heat it up and bend it a little bit back, but that seems to be what it is. And as you can tell, I've taken a few rollovers. This guy likes to cartwheel and land upside down. This guy likes to land upside down too. It is what it is, it seems like. And I have not driven this one. I have driven this one. My daughter's. I'm just going by what I've seen. But all in all, a lot of driveway fun is what I'm going to call it. And I haven't done anything too drastic with as far as like bashing, but for the amount of damage that I'm occurring, it seems like it's kind of poorly designed. It really does. So here is one of the ramps that I made. It is a simple 2x4 1/4-inch piece of plywood and then a 15-degree kick up. I'm going to call it a kick up. I don't know what else to call it. So the overall height of that thing is not terrible. It's not like the cars are terribly fast, but we're going to call that, for the lack of a better description, about 4, and it may look like 5 on camera, but it's actually more like 4 3/4. Yeah, it's more like 4 3/4 if we stand it straight up. So it's not a terribly high ramp, and I got 4 of them like this. Actually, I got 3 like this, and then one of them does not have this little kick up right here. And so it's not terribly big, and these cars seem to be suffering a lot just from this little tiny ramp. And I think that either their engineers don't know how to design protective measures, or they choose not to design protective measures. It's one or the other. One or the other. And for damn near $200, it is not worth $200. On the sale price, what I got these at, basically $100 a piece, $99.99, $100 plus tax, $108 a piece. I think that should be the high end of the price market for these guys. They do have oil-filled shocks, if I didn't mention that. On sale price, I think these should be about $60 range. I really think that's where these truly belong. They are not that great. In fact, I'm charging my 1/18 scale WL Toys buggy, and later on I'm just going to do a little comparison between them, see how they handle. Granted, the WL Toys has a 550 size motor, so it's going to obviously accelerate better because it also has 4-wheel drive. I think the battery pack is about the same, but the layout is totally different. But that car was $79.99. And this car here, you're paying $169 from what I'm seeing on average at A-Main Hobbies and Tower Hobbies and other places that I'm seeing. So way too expensive of a car for the amount of failures I'm having in less than a week of driving, right? 7 days. Today is going to be the 6th battery charge, right? Hopefully we're going to run these again today before I go to work, but other than that. But cool backyard fun. I wish they would have designed them a little beefier, a little stronger. Unless you're driving it on a well-groomed track with... I don't recommend buying one, but it is fun. Hopefully Losi makes some repairs or some design changes, because that's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Anyway, have a good day.